Welcome to Mr. Foy's Easel. In a previous program, I had quite a lot to say and a lot to draw about circles, with focus on funny faces in cartoons, drawing characters maybe somewhat like this. Well, to a lesser extent, circular marks are helpful in doing cartoon bodies. Let me demonstrate. I'll put the circular head up here, and then not exactly a same thing, but a larger, more or less circular figure, and then put some arms and legs. Now, when you're working on something like this, if you want to finish it up, you probably should use a pencil at first so as to get the basic outline, and you can erase and correct and so on. I didn't do that, but using my marker, I can give you an idea of how you can fill this circular guy in with shoes and pants, necktie, and so on. Well, better give him a head. He looks like he just bought some new clothes and is showing them off or something. I hadn't thought about that, but let's give a price tag there. Well, I'm not going to complete every one of my circular characters, but let's look at a few more outlines. You can have a somewhat circular, but more oblong, and you can, of course, you can always combine the circles with, or circular sketches with other more straight lines. So here's a fellow that's not quite as, shall we say, circular as his neighbor, but there are some circular features anyway. And in cartoons, you can vary the belt line in order to achieve a variety of body forms. Well, these two guys are just standing there, but when you're doing circular bodies in motion, you might have one like this, just walking along. And as I said, I'm not going to give as much detail to this one, but whenever you're working on a character who's walking or in any kind of motion, as I said a moment ago, you probably should use a pencil and kind of make sure you get the feet and the arms in a position that clearly shows what motion is being shown. And let's speed things up a little bit, and let's have a running character. Now, notice the difference between how the legs are bent between these two guys. Well, the arms are about the same, but this guy looks like he's running from something. Surely not him. He doesn't look too threatening. But anyway, here's a guy on the run, hats flying off, speed lines behind him, a shadow underneath, indicating he's pretty much off the ground a good part of the time. And maybe if he has a tie on, you'd have his tie kind of like that. Of course, going back to the more stationary forms, This one is almost, this next one is almost as difficult to get as the previous ones. Leaning, all right? It's amazing how just a slight variation on this would kind of mess up your plans. You have to have the leaning character with the lower part of his body a little bit farther this way than up here. Okay. Now, this is by no means all you need to pick up on as far as cartoon bodies and somewhat using of circular lines. But we'll take a break now, and in a few minutes, we'll start in on cartoon animals, and not only circular bodies, but starting out with the heads.
Home security is now available through Conway Corp. It's an advanced solution backed by people you know and trust. Customize your system with motion detectors, sensors, light controls, and more, all managed from your wireless touchscreen or mobile phone. It's an easy way to protect the things that matter and the ones who matter most. It's safety for you, powered by Conway Corp.
Okay, I'm still on my circles theme with attention to cartoon animals, starting with their faces. Okay, I'm going to do a few circles here and see if I can put some critters inside. Well, you use about the same technique as a line across and a line like this. And it looks so far as if I'm just drawing more people, but I'm not. I'm going to draw you a doggy. See? Of course, the ears, you have to kind of practice on how to do the ears. You could have them in different positions, of course, but in drawing animal cartoon faces, we put the big eyes, and oftentimes we have a shiny nose in the case of, say, a dog or a cat or maybe a bear. But let's don't get into those critters just yet. Let's see what we could find around the barnyard or about the farm. Aha, you figured out already. Got Mr. Pig here. You notice that I put some additional lines. Often in drawing cartoon animal faces, you kind of accentuate the jaws, as I've done here and as I'm doing here with the cat. And you need to practice on how to put the ears. You know, I've been drawing people with the ears right along there, but in the critters, sometimes you have to change things up. Here we're back to the shiny nose and a happy expression. Well, happy, maybe kind of melancholy. Oh, that's a cat. Doesn't look a lot like a cat, but he looks more like a cat than, say, Garfield, I think. I'm going to try to draw a cartoon mouse without you thinking that I'm trying to draw Mickey. Mice don't have big ears like Mickey, and they don't have ears like this either, but often we put a little cute teeth on our mice. Speaking of Mickey Mouse and circles, think about Mickey here. Big ears up there. And in the case of Mickey, notice this kind of stylized line around his facial features. I once saw a drawing of Mickey in a book, and it showed the circular ears and head in general, and then it got down to his shoes, which were pretty circular, and his hands, which had gloves on, and his stomach kind of circular with shorts and 2 buttons. But anyway, let's look further at animals and circles. Animals that have long noses that you want to feature may also have this kind of design, if you want to call it that, as far as the face. This is a cartoon of a fox. Now we want to, before our time runs out, do a little bit in terms of bodies. Now in drawing your cartoon bodies, you can make them kind of pudgy, circular, or I should have said you could put them on all fours. Some cartoons show our dogs and cats and pigs and so on all fours, but more often than not, I suppose, you'll have them standing upright, just like people. Well, that's about all the time we have for our critters and circular features and so on. Remember, you can contact Mr. Foy's Easel at conwaycorp.com.